that you have that makes you do that, especially since you're in this showbiz, which is often seen to be frivolous?
So you want to take the first part?
It starts with women. So if women and girls can make choices that impact their own lives, the world will be a better place. If we really think how many choices women make and girls make that impact their own lives, very few, particularly in South Asia. So it starts not only with education, but it starts with the society. And I believe that we have seen a lot of changes in women over the last 10, 20, 30 years. And I think now it's time for men to change. So I believe it's very important. Today it is about nutrition, it's about child nutrition. It ends with a position, or it starts with the position of women in society. Thank you very much for that excellent question.
Well, I'd like to add to that. I completely agree with you. I think it is a very, very fundamental reality that we need to be looking at. Because in this region, right from the time that baby is conceived, if it happens to be a girl, often we don't want her to live. So right from the time that we don't allow a girl child to be born, to we don't give her equal opportunities in education, we don't give her equal opportunities in health, we don't feed her as much. You know, so at every step, a girl child is at a disadvantage. And she's made to feel unequal, and she's made to, you know. So I think it's really high time we change that. I think this particular campaign, which is on malnutrition, is concentrating on the 1,000-day window period. But on a larger level, I think I completely agree with you. When we began researching for Satyamev Jayate, two of my biggest lessons and two of my biggest learnings was this. One of them was that yeah, sorry. One of them was that the big change will happen in any society when we understand that women have to be equal to men. Women are in fact equal to men, and therefore they should not be, you know, the way we look at women as a society and the way we look at men as a society has to go through fundamental change. When that happens, I think that will make the big defining change in our society. That will be the big defining change. And that's waiting to happen. I think women are already changing, as Karen said. A lot of women are changing. It's high time that men change the way, you know, yeah, it's high time that men change. Why am I doing what I'm doing? I've not been able to give a proper answer for that ever. I'm not quite sure. I guess this is how I am. And I guess this is what is important to me. All of us do what's important to each one of us. I'm also privileged to be in a position where I can choose what I want to do. Had I been in a position where I'm not able to choose what I want to do, had I been someone who was fighting to survive in the daily battle of life, then I would not have been in a position to choose. So I feel very grateful that I am in a position where I can choose and do what I feel like doing. And I'd like to make the most of that. I'd like to make the most. Well, you know, it comes from, I think it's the way I've been brought up. I think a lot of me, a lot of what I am is a result of the influence that my mother has been on me. My mother has been a very big influence on me, and still is. And I think a lot of what I am today is because of that. I'll tell you a story which I've said very often. I don't know whether in Nepal people know about it, but I used to play a lot of tennis as a kid. And I used to play competitive tennis. I used to play the circuit. And I was pretty good. I was Maharashtra #1 state champion. And my mom knew how excited I am about the game. So she would wait for me. And after the match got over, I would come home. And she'd be waiting for me. And she'd ask me, what happened? Did you win? Usually I would win, so my answer would be, I won. She'd be really happy. She'd give me a hug. And then invariably after 10 minutes, I love tea, so she used to make tea for me. And then she used to sit next to me and say, I mean, the first time she did it just blew me. The first time she said this, Karen, to me, is that, you know, the boy who lost to you, he must have reached home now as well. And his mother must have asked him the same question that I asked you. And he would have told his mother that he lost. So his mother must be feeling bad right now. So when she said that to me the first time, I was blown. Because I was must have been 11 or something at that time. And I was thinking, yeah, that mother, that lady must be feeling bad right now because her son lost. And then I looked at my mother, I was like, why is she thinking of that lady? So her ability to think for others, for someone who she doesn't know, who she hasn't seen, was a very big lesson to me. And I don't think she meant to teach me a lesson. That's how she is. And I think that had a big impact on me. So today, I mean, I'm saying this as a story, as an example, because a lot of people in my life asked me, why are you this way, why are you this way? And then I started scratching my head and saying, why am I this way? And then I realized, actually, it's because of the way my mother is, and her influence on me has probably made me think for others instinctively. You know, she's taught me that, without intending to. Yeah.
There was a question in the middle there. The lady in the middle. Please take the mic and identify yourself. Where is the mic, please?
Yeah, the mic is here. Where is the lady?
The lady just in the center.
Hi, Aamir.
No, not you. No. Sorry. In the back there. The lady first. Ladies first, as we say. All right. Please identify yourself.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Chahana and I'm from the Kathmandu Post. And I'm just curious to know, how are you going to measure the impact of this campaign? How the tangible indicators to measure how successful the Sunaula Hazar Dinaru is going to be?
I think that is something that UNICEF has been doing all along, and that is what the volunteer workers do. Correct me if I'm saying something wrong. That when you go out in the field, every child that is born is measured to see how they're doing, whether their growth in terms of height and in terms of weight, you know, how does it compare with their age, and that is an indicator. So when you count the children and you realize that this is the number of children who are still stunted, then you realize, and you compare it with your figures of the earlier years. So you come to know whether the program is working, not working. Maybe Karen can elaborate on that.
Thank you. Yes, sure, we are measuring. UNICEF, not only in Nepal, but also Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, everywhere. It's the same kind of indicator that we have followed since 1980s. So we know exactly which of the countries are performing better, which of the countries and which provinces or states within a country are lagging behind, and then we pay special attention to bring it up to desirable habits. And left now, Nepal and all the other countries in South Asia, they need to do a lot more. And it's not that there are no programs, there are programs. However, we cannot sit on our laurels if 4 out of 10 children have stunted growth. So that is exactly why I'm so happy, and at UNICEF we are so happy that Aamir Khan has accepted to become a regional ambassador for nutrition. We know what we are doing, governments know what they are doing, but it needs a boost. It needs to bring the attention to nutrition to the next level. So we know what we are doing, but we need to ensure that we accelerate it. Thank you.
We'll take the question from the
person there, yes.
Hi, Aamir, it's me, Ashish Adhikari from Setapati.com. I'd like to ask you one question. Last month, the Hollywood star Leonardo DiCaprio criticized for his environment issues, his voice about the environmental issues as the latest celebrity trend of speaking on the social issues, and they don't know about this. And earlier also you have faced same thing on the Narmada Bachao Andolan. And what do you have to say about those criticized that unnecessary?
Yeah.
It's so Aamir, I would like to hear from you, please. No, it's regarding you. So
And then we'll see if
please.
that's the right answer. I think what happens with organizations like UNICEF and fantastic ambassadors like Aamir, we watch each other for years. I know that Aamir has been looking at UNICEF. What is UNICEF doing? How serious are they? Are they making a difference? Do they have reach? Are they achieving results? And in a way, we are doing the same. So we have been knowing probably each other since the beginning of 2000 or the mid-2005 or so. and we're looking at each other. Is this a match? Is this a match or is this not a match? I know that Aamir is very serious about accepting any special role. And I know UNICEF is also very serious about inviting a top-notch, world-known person to become an ambassador. And that's why, the more reason why we are thrilled that today we are celebrating, in a way, this match. The match between the stardom of Aamir Khan, and I hope the results that UNICEF is achieving on the ground. So we are thrilled.
To answer your question, whenever I feel some issue is important, you're not even listening to me here. He's looking at his phone or something. He's asked me a question, but he's not interested in the answer. Huh? You don't want the answer? Okay. So, whenever I feel strongly about something, I feel it's important for me to either voice my opinion on it. Sometimes it's just me voicing my opinion. Sometimes it's me going beyond that. Sometimes it's me doing something specific about it. And I'm aware that each of these times, there might be people who think differently. There might be people who disagree with me. There might be people who criticize what I'm doing. And they may be doing it for sometimes publicity, sometimes some other agenda, but sometimes they would be valid also. Sometimes their objections, sometimes their disagreements would also be valid. The fact is that we have to recognize that each individual has a point of view and has a right to that point of view. I may not agree with what you say, but that doesn't mean that I feel you should not be allowed to say what you want to say. So if I feel something, if I feel that I need to work for the underprivileged in a certain sector, maybe there are forces who don't want me to do that. Maybe there are forces who are uncomfortable with things changing, and they would express their displeasure about me voicing our opinion. It's a democracy, at least the country that I live in India is a democracy, so they have their right, and even if it's not a democracy, I think every human being has a right to express, have a difference of opinion, and then people will hear my point of view, will hear your point of view, and they will make up their own minds who's making sense to them. So I don't get deterred by opposition. I don't get deterred by an opposing point of view, simply because I really feel that that person with an opposing point of view has every right to oppose me and have a different point of view. That's what I feel.
Namaskar.
There's a question on the left.
सौभाग्य मिथिला टेलीविजन और रिपोर्टर्स क्लब नेपाल से राम गोपाल यादव। मेरा क्वेश्चन आपसे इस प्रकार है, हर एक मनुष्य को जो शुरुआत की राह से अभी आप इस जगह पर आए हैं, यूनिसेफ के द्वारा बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपको। जो रियल लाइफ में कुपोषण युग समाज के मुक्ति के लिए आपको ये जगह चुना गया है, और अभी आप सत्य में विजय थे, और आर्टिस्ट लाइन में भी आप रियल रोल करते आ रहे हैं, इसके लिए धन्यवाद। क्या इससे मुक्ति का किस प्रकार की आपको योजना है और कहाँ तक जाने की तैयारी है?
देखिए, कोई भी समस्या से अगर हमें मुक्ति चाहिए तो उसके लिए हम सबको एक साथ काम करना है। तो जहाँ तक मेरा सवाल है, मुझे लगता है कि जो ऊपर वाले ने मुझे काबिलियत दी है, जो लोगों ने प्यार दिया है, जो मुझे आज गुडविल मिली है, मैं उसका सही इस्तेमाल करना चाहता हूँ। मैं लोगों तक पहुँच सकता हूँ, ये मेरी काबिलियत है। मैं लोगों के दिल पे असर कर सकता हूँ। मैं लोगों को अपने कहानियों के जरिए मैं उनके मन को बदल सकता हूँ। तो ये काबिलियत मुझे मिली है और मैं इस काबिलियत का पूरा इस्तेमाल करना चाहता हूँ। और कोई भी समस्या का हल जो है वो हम सब में है। तो मैं कम्युनिकेट कर रहा हूँ, मैं आपको समझा रहा हूँ, मैं आप तक पहुँचने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ। अल्टीमेटली वो एक कदम हर इंसान को लेना है, तभी समाज में कोई भी समस्या का हल निकलेगा। कन्या भ्रूण हत्या के बारे में मैं आपको समझा सकता हूँ, लेकिन सच्चाई तो ये है कि कन्या भ्रूण हत्या और ऐसे अन्य विषयों पर, कन्या भ्रूण हत्या का मैं आपको उदाहरण देता हूँ।
वो जो क्राइम है, वो जो गलत काम है, वो बेडरूम में प्लान होता है। पति पत्नी ये तय करते हैं कि भाई हम पता करें कि जो बच्चा होने वाला है वो लड़का है लड़की है, और अगर लड़की है हम उसे गिरा दें। ये जो सोच है, ये इसकी डिस्कशन बेडरूम में होती है। अब हर बेडरूम में तो आप पुलिस वाला रख नहीं सकते। मैं कुछ गलत बोल रहा हूं तो मुझे बताइए। तो हम आप तक पहुंच सकते हैं, हम आपको सही सीख दे सकते हैं, हम आपके मन को भी बदलने की कोशिश कर सकते हैं, लेकिन वो एक कदम आपको भी लेना है। हर इंसान को वो सही कदम लेना है, तभी किसी भी समस्या से हमें मुक्ति मिलेगी। तो इसी तरह मैल न्यूट्रिशन में भी वही है। जो इल्म हमें है, जो जानकारी हमें है, वो हम लोगों तक पहुंचा रहे हैं। लेकिन ये एक समस्या है जिसमें कि आम इंसान और गवर्नमेंट दोनों को साथ में चलना है। सरकार को उन लोगों तक पहुंचना है, उन लोगों की मदद करना है जो इकोनॉमिकली वीकर सेक्शन ऑफ सोसाइटी है, तभी हम इससे मुक्त हो सकते हैं।
सत्य में विजय के 4 वर्ष पुराने कृष्ण ने अपने पानी के द्वारा सिंचित किया था मेरे धरती पर।
दोबारा बोलिए, वो आपका माइक नीचे
सत्य में विजय के जो प्रोग्राम आप चला रहे हैं, वो हजारों वर्षों पहले श्री कृष्ण ने गीता में अपने मुखारबिंद से बोला था। इसके लिए भी आपको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। इस रास्ते आप क्या देना चाहते हैं?
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, आपने बहुत बड़ी चीज बोल दी हमारे लिए। हम बहुत एक छोटी कोशिश कर रहे हैं, लेकिन मुझे खुशी है कि इसका एक अच्छा असर हो रहा है, और हमारी कोशिश है कि इसके जरिए हम लोगों में जागरूकता लाएं। और देखिए, समाज को बदलने के 2 तरीके होते हैं। एक हम ऊपर से बदलने की कोशिश करते हैं, कानून लाकर। जब हम पॉलिटिक्स में आते हैं और हम इलेक्ट होते हैं, पार्लियामेंट में बैठते हैं, तो वहां पर हम कानून बना सकते हैं, पॉलिसी बना सकते हैं, लोग फॉलो करें। ये एक तरीका होता है, ये ऊपर से हम बदलाव लाने की कोशिश करते हैं। और दूसरा तरीका होता है कि हम नीचे से बदलाव लाने की कोशिश करें। जो मेरी टीम है सत्य में विजयते में, मेरी टीम और मैं, हमारी कोशिश है कि हम नीचे से बदलाव लाने की कोशिश करें। हम समस्याओं के हल ढूंढें, हम लोगों के मन बदलें। फिर जब इंसान का सोच बदलती है, उसके विचार बदलते हैं, तो चीज़ें फिर धीरे धीरे बदलना शुरू होती हैं। और कोई भी बदलाव आने में वक्त लगता है, फौरन कोई चीज़ नहीं होती। तो हमारी कोशिश ये है, अगर आपका सवाल है कि हम क्या कोशिश कर रहे हैं, हमारी क्या कोशिश है, हमारी कोशिश है कि हम नीचे से बदलाव लाएं, ये हमारी कोशिश है।
Thank you, thank you. We'll go for 2 more questions and then it's over. So we'll take a question here.
Namaste Aamir Khan ji. My name is Saral Guru from Kantipur Television. And first of all, I would like to say welcome to Nepal. And we are feeling so great to having you here.
Thank you.
And today, we are having you as a face of UNICEF. And my question is, you are, as a star, having lots of energy, lots of power to encourage the society, to touch the human hearts, each and every humankind. And I would like to know, is Aamir Khan is or not going to having his own program to change the society ahead? Thank you.
In my own program, you mean my TV program?
No.
Sorry.
Your own movement, your own campaign to change the society.
Well, you know, what we are doing through our television show is in fact that same attempt. We are trying to do that. I feel that, you know, when I look at my abilities, each one of us has got different abilities. And when I look at my strengths and my abilities, I believe that they lie in reaching out to people, in connecting with people, in, you know, touching people emotionally. That's what I believe my strength lies in. And therefore, that is what I'm using to reach people and to perhaps look differently at some of the issues that face us. So that's what I'm trying to do through the television show, Satyameva Jayate. That's exactly what I'm doing. If your question is, will I do something on ground, like, you know, start an organization, because then I'll have to deal with only one issue. I'll have to restrict myself to any one topic. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I want to be able to communicate on various topics, because I feel that's what I am. I'm a communicator. I want to use that to the full.
Question just here in the front, and then we're almost ending.
Hi, I'm BP from Xinhua. You said that like malnutrition is an unseen enemy, but that it is also everyone's responsibility to fight it, right? So how to make sure that not only parents, but also teachers or neighbors recognize a malnourished child and do something about it?
Well, there are two aspects to this. One is recognizing a child who's malnourished. But what we are trying to propagate, what we are trying to educate people about, is that right from the start, from the time that the baby is conceived in the womb of the mother, if you take the right steps, then you would not have a... Hello.
All right, one last question in the back there.
Do you have extra mic?
Yes.
Sorry. So, if we follow those steps, then the child will not be malnourished to begin with. So what we are trying to address is the first 1,000 days, which is up to the child being 2 years old. And that is what we are propagating strongly as the right steps to take. Recognizing whether the person has been malnourished. Let's assume you look at a kid who's 8 or 9 years old, and then you look for symptoms of malnourishment. It's a bit late in the day to look for them. So even if I can recognize that this child has probably, gone through malnourishment, it's too late for me to do anything practical about it. Am I right? It's too late in the day for me to do anything practical. So we're really targeting our focuses on the first 1,000 days, because that's when we can address this issue.
All right, one last question in the front there. The mic, please. Please identify yourself, and this is the last question.
That mic is not working.
Hello.
So malnutrition is not one of our issues that we've picked up in Satyameva Jayate. In fact, it's interesting that you asked that, because when I first became UNICEF's brand ambassador, in the fight against malnutrition for India, for the region of India, at that time we were also starting out on Satyameva Jayate, and in our first season, one of our topics was malnutrition. Quite on our own, we had thought that we would like to take up this issue of malnutrition. And the team decided that because I am in any case doing a huge campaign on malnutrition, along with the government of India, then we should use, instead of doing, it will become double. I'm doing campaign plus I'm going to talk about on the show. The information is going to be the same. So we took a decision not to take up malnutrition as a topic in our show, because I was, talking about it on other platforms. Importantly, on a campaign that was, planned as a very large campaign across India. So that's the reason why we did not take it up. In the future, we might. Let's see. But right now, it's not on the cards. No.
Hello.
Thank you. Sorry, but
Last question.
unless we take that one.
Okay, we'll take two. One from here, one from this girl who's been trying to ask for a long time.
Okay, glad to see you here. Aamir, I have been following you through Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook, and I have been hearing your interviews and interaction programs all the time. And the story that you share about your mother with us today is something that I have heard several times. But today, I would like to know what was the impact that your father had on you?
It's a good question. Good question. You see, my father, unfortunately, was a person who was very short-tempered, and he didn't have much of a relationship with his children. That's the truth. We all loved him. He looked after us very well. He gave us a great life, and but he didn't really spend time with us.
he didn't really have a equation with us. And that's something I miss. So there are influences of my father in me. He's an extremely honest person and a very strong-willed person. So those are influences that have rubbed off onto me. But the fact of the matter is that I was far closer to my mother than to my father. And I think that that generation, I'm talking of my generation, and the generations before that, fathers were always, they would keep the children at a distance. They would always keep the children at a distance. This kid is making too much noise, just take him away. Take him to the next room. That's the attitude. Okay, let's get these kids out of our lives. The only time the fathers were interested in the children is if and when they performed well. Child has come first in the class. After all, whose son is he? So fathers were around only to take the credit, and they were not around to be part of your life. That is the generation that I belong to, of children. Hopefully, when I became a father, I tried to change that with my children. I'm very happy to say that I have a relationship with my kids, which is like a friend, my son and my daughter, and my other son now, who's very small. I have a relationship of friendship. So, I think that, most males, it's a very interesting question you put up. Most males are kind of groomed to be a certain way. And that's how my father was. So I don't hold it against him, but he didn't have 1/10 the kind of influence on me that my mother has. That's the truth of the matter.
Okay. Hello, Aamirji. Namaste. I'm from ABC Television. You are a great and popular actor. So you are in Nepal now. So do you interested in Nepali film?
Well, I would love to watch Nepali films as well. I think that, cinema and movies is what I love. But one thing that I've always found about myself, which I've always regretted, is that I don't end up watching films. Including Hindi films, including English films. I don't watch films. As compared to what I should be, because this is my field. I should be watching a lot more films, but somehow, from childhood, I was a reader. I read a lot. I love reading. I love books. So what happens is the moment I'm with myself, when I have any free time with myself, I move towards a book. I don't move towards a film. It's not that I don't like watching films. I love watching films. But somehow, I find that I read a lot more than I watch films. And that's how I am. That's my interest. So I would love to watch Nepali films and certainly, get the exposure of what kind of films are being made here. I would like to do that, yeah.
Do you want to play Nepali film?
Do I want to act in a Nepali film?
If you get offer.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I feel that, well, as long as I'm comfortable with the language, if it's a Nepali film in which I have to speak Nepalese, which I'm not sure, I don't know whether I'll be able to do that. Because for an actor, language becomes very important. If you're not comfortable with the language, if you don't have a command over the language, you won't be able to perform well. So I'm happy to do a film anywhere in the world. It can be from Africa, it can be from India, it can be from Nepal, it can be from, anywhere in the world. That's not important. Which part of the world the story is from is not of criteria. What is important is that does it touch me? Does that story touch my heart? If it does, then I want to be a part of it. It doesn't matter which part of the world it is from. Because for me, the world is one place. I don't see it as different countries. We're all human beings. And if the story touches me as a human being, then I want to be a part of it. And as long as I know the language. That's the only criteria.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Khan. Thank you. I think we'll close it here. Thank you very much for this event. Thank you for all coming. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.